The day before Hurricane Michael made landfall, all 225 members of Sheriff Tommy Ford's staff worked 12-hour shifts as the storm moved towards Bay County.
We'd called for the evacuation of basically 3/4 of the county, about 125,000 residents. We were watching the traffic outflows throughout the day on Tuesday and even into the night, and just were not seeing, what we anticipated with that level of evacuation. So that caused me great concern, especially as the forecasts were worsening.
As the storm worsened, Ford was anxious for his staff and residents. There came a point where Ford had to pull his deputies off the road for their safety.
If they are injured during the storm, then they can't help anybody after the storm. And what we have to look at is the wind speed and what a projectile, a piece of wood, some debris that's being blown by the wind, what that could do to a person. We talked about that a lot before the storm, that there will come a time that we'll no longer be able to respond, and that time did come.
As part of the sheriff's office flooded and some of the roof blew off, a cold breeze traveled through the hallways.
It was all going towards that center section where the roof was being lifted. And at that time, we really felt like, people have debated, okay, were there tornadoes there? I think the best description is we were in a 50-mile wide tornado.
When communications failed, Ford headed to the Emergency Operations Center. He says those in the EOC hadn't heard about the damage until he got there.
I was one of the first ones up there, and it was really kind of a strong moment then as 10 or 15 people were emerging from that building and asking me what I saw. And I remember seeing Bob Micah, who's the county manager, and just saying it's bad. It's real bad.
Ford says he is proud of how the sheriff's office and other law enforcement acted after the storm.
And looking back on it, just so pleased with how everybody just fell into the rhythm of doing what they needed to do to protect this community. The fact that we didn't have communications was terrible, but our people knew what to do.
As agencies came in to help with recovery, Ford was overwhelmed but grateful.
I think that gave a sense of peace to people, that we had at times 600 deputies and officers from across the state and state law enforcement officers had come in here to help us.
Ford is working to keep emergency response knowledge on the minds of his team.
And you learn by doing it, and we've certainly learned a lot the very hardest of ways. And I think that we certainly benefit internally from the lessons learned of that, and hopefully can pass that on to others that may go through it, and just pray that we don't face that again.
Hurricane Michael showed him how strong the community is.
Everybody worked together for the good of the community. Everybody was pulling their weight and just working seamlessly together to help this community. So that really meant a lot to see that, and I think it's a special place.
Kayla Tucker, News 13, Panhandle Strong.